My next guest has got a quick turnaround. Going to be taking on Khalil Rountree at UFC 303, June 29th. It is Jamahal Hill, Sweet Dreams, back here on the program. Jamahal, how are you?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So obviously, pretty quick fight announcement. Kind of came out of nowhere. I think they tweeted it out on like a Friday night. How did this come together? Was it the UFC coming to you? Did you come to them? Like, take me through how this fight got booked.
I went to them Monday. I was sitting, I'm like, man, I'm fresh. I'm ready to get back into it. I'm ready to fight again. So Sunday actually. Sunday I told my manager I still feel good. I feel ready to slide back into a fight. Monday I got on another call with him, and he got on a call with Mick. And by Tuesday they had the contract on his way.
Okay. What did the doctor say to you after the fight? Because I know sometimes when you do, get knocked out, there's some sort of a suspension. Like, I imagine that all got cleared before you, booked this fight.
I wasn't knocked out. I wasn't knocked out.
Yeah, not knocked out cold, but I mean, like, generally, yeah.
Punch, you know what I mean? And then, like, I went down. I was defending, and then I got hit. I got hit with some good follow-up shots, and it knocked my equilibrium off. Like, I was not unconscious at no point.
No, for sure. Well, there's a difference. I would have said unconscious instead of knocked out. It's still technically a knockout, though. That's why I know with doctors, they'll be like...
Technical knockout.
Technical knockout. Okay, yes, to the correct term. But was there any sort of suspension after that? That was one thing I was curious. Even if it is a technical knockout, they still give you, I think, a certain period, like 30 days or 60 days or something.
After a fight period, they give everybody a medical suspension after a fight. Originally, you just have to go through go through some clearances. You just got to have some doctor's appointment and go get checked out and get cleared, and that's it.
Okay. But did they give you like a suspension like for a certain period of time where you can't compete or can't train or anything like that?
No, they don't do that.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
They for the most, they just be like, oh, you have this suspension. They'll be like, oh, we'll do a 30-day, 60-day suspension or whatever, or until you get cleared by the doctor.
Yeah. And kind of on that note, what do you think of the narrative? Like, oh, he just got knocked out. This is too soon and all that. Like, you just described it there. You weren't unconscious. Like, there's a difference between someone being unconscious and them having to get woken up and taken out of the fight. And then there's the TKO finish, which is what you had. Does that kind of annoy you that people are kind of writing this as like, oh my God, like, how could he come back after that?
No, I expect people to not be sensible and know what the fuck they're talking about.
Okay, fair enough. You talked a bit about, I know on your YouTube channel about the loss. Is there anything you would have done differently, kind of looking back now, or do you feel like, it played out like how it did?
I would have been more of a gritty competitor. Show less sportsmanship, and just stayed on my square more, through distraction. I would have stayed covered and protected at all times.
Yeah. And has that ever happened to you before where you've had like a stop in action during a fight? Because I was trying to look back on your career. I don't remember that happening before. So that was maybe a bit new for you as well. Yeah.
My first fight with Aleksandar in Contender Series, there was a groin shot. There was a groin shot.
Right, yeah.
The Glover fight, there was a couple eye pokes in that one. I don't think there was. I think that's about it. For the most part, it's been pretty clean. Other than that,
it looks like Pereira wants to fight Ankalaev next. It seems like he's not really interested in Jiri because they just had their fight in November. Do you think that's the right call, or do you think what Jiri did against Rakic, because we were talking about this before the fight, do you think that should get him over Ankalaev if you were the matchmaker?
No, I think Ankalaev should be next.
Yeah, just to switch things up. Do you think he can defeat Pereira, or do you see Pereira being the favorite just because of activity and all these other things?
No. When the film, I see. That's part of the reason why I wanted to come back so soon. Also, I didn't want Magomed to get a hold of him first. Magomed's stance is a problem for Pereira. Pereira doesn't fight well against southpaws, which is part of why you can kind of that whole sequence is pointed to. He doesn't take the angle, and he doesn't fight against southpaws very well. Magomed's a southpaw. And Magomed also comes with can come with a very grapple heavy approach, as well as he picks decent shots, and he is capable on the feet. So I'd probably favor Magomed in that fight.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the other fights on 300? If so, what did you think of Yuri's knockout over Rakic?
I caught some of it. That was when I was getting to the arena, but I wasn't really able to lock in on it like that for real.
Okay, so you haven't watched it yet then, no?
Not fully, no.
Okay. Did you hear that Jiri might? Well, he's talked about maybe going down to 185. Do you think he could make the weight? I mean, that seems kind of interesting.
I don't know. He knows how his body feels. He knows his body.
Okay.
Fair enough. Better.
Why do you think Jiri was not your next opponent? Do you think the UFC has other plans for him, or like were there any other opponents in the mix besides Khalil?
Yeah, I mean, he got the win at UFC 300, so it's kind of they want to keep his name is riding hot. He put some value back on his to himself with that win, and you also gotta think, like, right now my name ain't the hottest thing right now. Whenever the UFC announced that I was headlining UFC 300, they got a lot of flack for it because of everything that was promised and the build up and things like that. And then, the fact that they got flack for it. And then the general consensus right now is the fact that I got walked down, dominated, and I just got knocked out or whatever. How people see it, not the fact that I was, going through my shit, filling my shit out. And then, I got caught. Just got caught.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. That's the narrative. So I have to build my value back from that.
How have you dealt with that? I mean, you've had losses before, the Paul Craig fight as an example, but this is obviously on a much bigger scale, and combine that with, a fan base of Pereiras, which I can attest personally has been, very ruthless. You're obviously dancing the next day after the fight. You're having a good time. How have you dealt with that? And how much is your support system, the people around you kind of helping you, kind of just get back to the next one?
I mean, I've dealt with it by just moving forward. At the end of the day, fighting is what I do. It's not who I am. It's not my entire life. It's just benefited other areas of my life in very significant ways. I just got to focus on that and understand this ain't the end of the road. This ain't the end of the road for me. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, I saw things going another different way, but just an opportunity to meet adversity and challenge it and have other success with it.
One thing I will give you credit for, I saw that PapiGio kid, the guy who does all the prank videos and stuff, the Pereira fan guy. You know what I'm talking about. There was that video of you and him in Vegas, and you were good about it. You're like, hey, listen, like, I know you're a Pereira guy, but like, you guys are watching the fight, you're building the fight. Like, I'm sure a lot of fan interactions are like that, where people are different online, and then when they meet in person, they're kind of like, a little bit softer. And I think you didn't, instead of getting upset, you're like, look, you're promoting the fight, so it's all good.
Like, yeah, I have no problem with that, bro. I have no problem with that. That's being a fan. That's feeding the energy of the sport. That's making it bigger, making our moments bigger. Yeah. You know what I mean? The more people that are drawn in and things like that, I don't mind that. Even like the people, like, there are people. My thing is, like, my biggest thing is like the people that come online with the whole bitches, things like that say things that no man to man, face to face, you would never. Yeah. You wouldn't. You know what I mean? It's kind of sad now that people are leaning on a system to protect them, for them to be able to just come out and just irately just do things that you do and say things that you just wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a different generation. I mean, I think, what was the saying growing up? It was respect your elders. That's gone out the window now. It's like people do whatever they want online, right? Because there's no consequences.
Yeah, 100%. But it is what it is. I let, like I said, I don't know anybody who's sitting up online hating on somebody else, throwing shade at somebody else that's actually making it. Never get hated on by somebody that's doing better than you.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Just last thing on 300, obviously everyone was talking about the knockout with Max Holloway. I'm sure you caught it, or at least have seen the replay, because the UFC, something they never do, they actually showed the finish, the Holloway knockout, like all over social media. Normally they like copyright that, and they said, no, we got to keep that to ourselves. But I think the UFC recognized this is like a viral moment. What did you think of that at the end with them, him pointing at the ground and knocking out Gaethje the way he did?
I think it was a great fight, a great show put on by two warriors, and they went toe to toe. And one man had to go down. That's usually the thing. You point at the ground, you stand your ground, and you decide to throw swing heavy punches at each other. Somebody might go down, and Gaethje was just on the other side of that. He's must see TV, man. This is why we love a Justin Gaethje. This is why we love a Max Holloway. These guys, they come out, they put it on the line. They care more about the show than the health to themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the thing for most fighters, and that's the thing that I wish people respected a little bit more. But man, it was an incredible moment. I jumped up. I know the UFC's got a recording of it somewhere in the back. Me hopping up like just holy shit. My reaction was like everybody else's. It was crazy.
All right, let's look ahead here because you have this fight with Khalil. How cool is it? I mean, you've done a lot of cool things in your career, but to be on a card with Conor McGregor, that's got to feel pretty awesome and part of International Fight Week.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what it's like. You know, the experience and everything like that. You know, he's one of those stars in the game. He's the star in the game. You know, that's just sending himself to a different level and brought a different atmosphere whenever he fights. Yeah, I was offered a main event. I was offered me to fight Khalil. We could do all. We can get you a main event. It was just like, nah, the Conor card is right there. It's soon enough, and it's good enough. And yeah, I definitely want that. So yeah, I turned out a main event to get on this.
Interesting. So what would that have been later then? Potentially like that fight, or do you know what main event it was going to be, like a date or anything?
No, there was no date for it, but they were saying they could find me a date to give me a main event. You know, I've been fighting main.
Was there any talk about this being 5 rounds?
There was never talks of that, but I'm always down to go 5 rounds.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. No, I get that. Let's talk about Khalil. He's been on quite the run lately. Stylistically, I mean, it's, you know, you just look at it as two strikers, sort of on the surface. But what do you see a little bit deeper here as far as the style matchup with you and Khalil?
Yeah, I see a Muay Thai guy. I see a Muay Thai guy who's strong, who throws with some power, has some power. He seems pretty strong. But there are holes. You know, there are a lot of holes there. There are things that I see that my strengths play a huge advantage in my favor, things that I'll be able to take advantage of. I see myself as a full-rounded fighter. Although I haven't shown it in the UFC, I haven't had to go into my bag of grappling, but it has been shown in glimpses. Mm-hmm. But I'm a complete fighter. I can fight everywhere. I can fight on the ground. I can fight in the clinch, and I can fight standing. The fight starts standing. That's where I can control a fight with the least amount of injury. So that's typically what I usually go with. But yeah, if I need to open up my bag and go into some other things in this fight, that's there as well. I think I have the grappling advantage in this fight. I think I have just the all-around tactical advantage in this fight.
Khalil's kind of like, I mean, he is like a very nice guy. Like you sort of, you know, you see him in interviews and stuff. He's a very like positive person. Are you almost looking forward to that in a way with all the buildup you had with Pereira? Because obviously like he's like a really passionate fan base. This time around, you're probably not going to have that with the Khalil fans. It'll just be sort of, you know, a regular buildup to a fight. Are you glad that that's not an element in this matchup?
I don't give a fuck. It don't matter to me one way or the other.
Well, no, you know what I mean though, right? Like it's obviously
I had fun in the build-up. I had fun in the build-up to the last fight.
Okay.
Like everybody took that shit personal. That was nothing. Like even Pereira took it personal. None of that shit was personal to me. It was just a gritty competitor. Like I said, I come from basketball. If you hoop or you're around the sport of basketball, you know the type of, you know what I mean, the type of swag and the type of thing that come with that. You know, and that's just what I bring. So I'm gonna be me regardless, you know.
Have you seen the odds yet for the fight? You're like minus 150. Does that surprise you? Is that what you expect, or do you think you should be a higher favorite? I don't know. Like, is that something you even pay attention to?
Nah,
okay.
I don't care.
Some fighters do. That's why I bring it up. And then what do you make of his like strength of schedule? Like you've been in there, you know, last couple of fights. If you look at it, Glover, obviously Pereira with your last fight. Before that, you know, Thiago Santos. He's fought, you know, guys that like Chris Daukaus, for example, who's not in the UFC anymore. Do you kind of look at that as far as some of the opposition he's fought on that win streak?
Nah, bro. I look at every fight the same. I look at it in the X's and the O's.
Okay.
You know what I mean, good at what is he trying to do? What can I do as a response to that? Where are my openings? You know, those are the things that I focus on.
Have you seen his fight with Dustin Jacoby yet? I'm sure you're going to do tape study at some point. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I did.
Do you think he won? And I'm not like, again, I'm not trying to talk shit on him, but I'm just curious because a lot of people feel like he didn't.
Hell no. Nah. And you know what's crazy though? Live, when I was watching it live, I don't know what I was doing, but I remember seeing it live. I thought he might have won. That was kind of based off the cuts and the damage a little bit. Mm-hmm. But now watching it back, watching the X's and O's in it, he lost every single round. Mm-hmm. I can't point to the round that he won.
Yeah, well, no, I agree, and I think, and again, like if you want more kind of evidence of this, and this isn't the be all end all, you know, there's that site MMA Decisions where the media can submit their scorecards. Majority of media scored it for Dustin. I don't think there was anyone or very few that scored it for Khalil.
He doubled him up in significant strikes in almost every round.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah. Whenever I watched it back, I'm like, yo, they gave this fight to him. It was, it was surprising. Okay. Yeah, it was definitely.
Um, you're in Vegas now. I know you have a house there that you rent for camp. I imagine you're gonna go back to Michigan, do the chunk of it there. Are you gonna split time between Vegas and Michigan for camp, or is it mainly all gonna be Michigan? Have you thought about that yet?
I'm working out my schedule right now.
Okay. Are you gonna bring anyone in, like maybe any Muay Thai guys or anything, or just your usual crew?
Yeah, I bring some guys in. I have some guys too.
Okay. There you go. Keeping it close to the vest as well. Early prediction for the fight. How do you see the fight unfolding? It's 3 rounds, so again, a bit different than some of your last couple fights.
Dominant finish by me.
Okay, I like it. I wouldn't expect anything less there. As far as the matchup and the implications and everything, do you think that like a dominant win here kind of gets you back in the spot you were before maybe winning the title? Because right now there's a lot of uncertainty, right? We've got obviously Jiri, we've got Ankalaev. Jan Blachowicz is still out there too, as well. So do you feel like the timing of this fight and everything that's gone on could be beneficial to you?
Yeah, it can, and it can. But honestly, like, bro, I'm not like at this point, like, you know what I mean. I just want to fight back with Pereira.
Yeah.
I just want to fight with Pereira, just because that wasn't it. That wasn't it. That fight that wasn't a reflection of truly what it is between the two of us. Mm-hmm. I see myself as better and very, and I feel like I can prove it very, very dominantly. So I want to get back. I want to get back to that fight just because of how it ended and everything like that. Regardless of what anybody says, for me, I want a better. I want a more cleaner and decisive, like, fight. More cleaner, decisive fight.
Your guy Joaquin Buckley getting that co-main event in St. Louis. How cool is that? You got to be so happy for him. And I loved how he was at the presser and called his shot there. He got in the media line.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm happy with everything that he's doing, bro. He's building a name for himself. He's must-see TV. He's always exciting, and I'm always happy. I'm always happy to see my guys get what they want.
Yeah, that should be a good fight. And got to bring him up. I do every interview. Brett Martin picking up a win. What's ahead for Brett after such a big victory here? I know the big thing is just keeping active and getting on the radar there. But what do you think's ahead for him? Because he keeps beating guys like this. It's going to be hard to deny him a good opportunity.
Just that. He got to stay active. He's got to stay busy. He's got to keep grinding, and he's got to consistency. Consistency is the biggest thing that he needs. He knows that you got to have consistency. So I'm trying to get that consistency with him moving on to the next one with schedule and things like that. Let's see what we can do.
Have you spoken to him since the fight?
I have.
Yeah, you have. What? Because I'm sure you guys talked about each of your fights, right? Obviously, so.
It's more so just like just been chilling. Big Dog is pissed, bro. He don't like to see people talking about his boys and shit like that.
I thought that was cool. Like that is a true like ride or die type guy. Like I saw him online even talking about even before the fight, I saw people saying that Pereira was going to be a lot bigger than you. And he's like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I go. I got that. I'm a lot better at holding my composure with people coming after me than my people are with people coming after me.
Right. So, yeah, for sure. Just something outside of MMA. What'd you think of the Ryan Garcia fight? That was kind of crazy with him supposedly trolling all of us and then him beating Haney.
There's another thing that goes to show people just watch fighting. They're not really in it. You know what I mean? So they don't really know the ins and outs of fighting. They don't really know what it is. They don't even know if that was a beer that he was drinking and it could have been water in that bottle.
Yeah. That's a pretty good troll job, though, if that really was what happened. Like, he had everyone fooled. I don't know anyone who watched that and said he's faking, because he did a good job of like convincing us that he was like off the kilter or whatever,
That's because everybody want to be Mr. Genius or Mr.
Online expert. Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure you've experienced that at this point. All these people who are telling you what you did wrong in your fight, when it's like,
this and that. How I see it is, bro. I hear it all. But the thing is, like I say all the time, if you could, you would be doing it. If you had the skill, knowledge, or anything that I have, or anything on the level that I do, you would be doing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not. They're watching me do it because I'm the one that really knows what I'm doing.
And on that note, and this is just my last question, what did you think of people saying that you were disrespectful to Pereira leading up? I don't get that at all. Like, you have to promote a fight. I mean, if we go to like the extreme of like a Colby Covington talking about Leon Edwards' father, and then we talk about like you just talking about, you know, hey, I think I'm going to knock him out. Like there's a large scale of trash talk and crossing the line. I don't even think you were anywhere close to that. Did that surprise you a bit where people are like, oh, he was disrespectful?
Not really. Then somewhat, but like not really. You know what I mean? I know people aren't really all that smart on average, you know, so they can't differentiate, oh, he's selling the fight to, oh, he's talking trash. Like, you know what I mean? And some people just think like, you know what I mean? They just look at certain people and they just think like, oh, he should just feel lucky to even be there. He should just feel thankful to this. And now they have a certain way that they feel that you're supposed to act. And if
Yeah.
you don't act that way, then, oh, you're this and you're that. You're disrespectful, or you're a piece of shit, or you're this and you're that. So it's like, it just is what it is, bro. It just comes with the territory.
Jamahal, thanks for doing this. I know you're going to enjoy some time in Vegas before you head back to Michigan. How long are you staying out there, and when are you going back to Michigan?
I'm just chilling right now.
We'll see. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here? Sponsor, social media, your YouTube channel, and anything you want to mention. The floor is yours, man.
Nah, man, they know where to find me at, you know. And if they don't, somebody will point them in the right direction.